We are
Hi,
live.
everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. This is Stephen Schnare calling from where I now live in San Diego.
Great.
And one of my best friends, Seppel Dietz, is putting on this podcast show. And if you listeners out there wish to hear about my past, growing up in Nelson, British Columbia, Canada, I'm willing to spill the beans. So
Yeah.
I'm 40, I'm 49 years old now.
And
And
so just to get a background. You're Stephen Schnare,
yeah,
and we grew up together in Nelson, BC, and we went skiing together. You're a very outdoors person. You're
yeah.
um, you're very driven in that way. It's
hmm
great to see someone who's achieved the levels that you have. Um, then you spent some time in the Lower Mainland, and then moved
hmm
to the United States to build a better life for yourself there. And you were very successful doing that, living in San Diego now.
Yes.
So yeah, well, it's so great um, to see someone actually take that extra step, because it's not very easy moving
To the
to the
state.
United States, is it?
No, no, it definitely it took a toll on me. But I had slowly made the best right decisions and the best outcome. Focused on the best outcome for it to come about, and had my share of jobs that came and went, and layoffs, and so on and so forth. From Vancouver, even before I moved to San Diego, I was suffering downfalls from companies that overpromised and underdelivered employment, and so I gave up on Vancouver essentially in 2004 after working in the IT field for a good 6, 7, 8 years, I guess,
Hmm.
and was happy to leave Vancouver, but not directly to San
Yeah.
Diego that I went. I actually jumped on ships and was taking my IT network engineering credentials and experience on board cruise ships for nearly 5 years. So
Wow.
directly from Vancouver, I got an opportunity to work on cruise ships where I landed a job at Celebrity Cruises
Hmm.
for a couple of years, and then I did 2 or 3 more years with Princess Cruise Lines, but the same difference, and sailed and worked on cruise ships doing the IT systems management and IT operations and network connectivity from ship to shore via satellite and Inmarsat C-band
Wow.
connectivity in the radio room in the telecommunications department, and sailed every single port of call literally from Russia to Brazil, Manaus,
Wow.
Brazil. So from Istanbul to Greek islands to Civitavecchia, Italy, to the French Polynesia or the French islands there, through Gibraltar Straits, up through the English Channel, the Baltic Sea, Tallinn, Estonia, Copenhagen, Denmark, Stockholm, Sweden, Oslo, Norway, Helsinki, Finland, all the way up to St. Petersburg, Russia, and back. I did that for many, many years, and even crossed the Atlantic six, I think, 5, 6, 7 times. Kind of lost count in the shuffle,
Wow.
which is a 9, 7, 8, no, more like an 8 or 9 day sea day, leaving Lisbon to get to
Hmm.
Miami on ships, which was a really neat experience. Not seeing land for that amount of time. Would definitely recommend it for anybody. Ships are pretty solid. There's not a lot of seasickness or rocking of the ship,
Right.
especially only when there's big, supersized storms. And there is some pretty big swell when you do cross the Atlantic, because it's deep sea there, and the swells can kind of rock the ship throughout the night and throughout the day. And if you're a little bit nauseous, that might get to you after a while, because you're 8 days at sea, so the ship is slightly rocking.
Hmm.
Um, Kind of like what would be the chairlift feeling up,
Right.
going on the chairlift. It's always kind of swaying forward, aft, left to right sort of thing. So quit ships after about 2 years of the last 2 years of my ship life. I'd met a fine young lady who was in
Hmm.
her 20s and me in my 30s that was a serious foodie and waitress, Somalia. They had a work that I wine sommelier that I worked with
Yep.
on board there. She was from Hungary, and we fell deeply in love. And for a long story short, I wasn't really going to go to Hungary, and leave ship life to go there because it's one of the hardest countries to learn, hardest languages to learn in that country.
Hmm.
Nor did I want to come back to Vancouver, Canada. And I made an offer to her, primarily that I would give her my heart, which I did, and we exchanged vows. But we eloped in San Diego, so an opportunity came about for me to sort of turn the page on Canada and living and dwelling and residing there. And she followed me here, and so we got married and eloped at the San Diego courthouse, and that was in 2010. And so I stepped off ships and collected everything and promised her. And that summer, we got an apartment together in San Diego, which was really good rent at the time and still is, which is where I'm currently living. And we had a good 5 year marriage or so. So we separated for the better and divorced, or whatever the big word is. I don't like using that per se, but we moved in different directions. And I had my ups and downs just coming through, yeah, the relationship as well as employment opportunities that came and went. So here I am in San Diego 12 years later now, and go back to Canada every year pretty much, either Christmas time during, if not during summer, to reconnect and regroup and see family everywhere from the island to Caslo. And I miss it.
Hmm.
Sometimes I wish I never left Canada
Yeah.
because of the turmoil and the problems of racism and hatred and violence and political um, unrest here in the States. So
Hmm. Wow.
I just kept a positive mind and focused on myself throughout living here. And yeah, it's okay. Health check. There we go. Back to recording.
Okay, we're back. We're back. So, um, we just took
Break.
a little advertising break there. Um, so, Stephen, you actually decided to go on the Carnival Cruise Line to work, and most people would think that that's kind of the ultimate job for a young person, just to be traveling around the world on this luxury cruise and having all the food in the world.
Yep.
But it was, you're away from family, and was it more like you're kind of in a condominium, the
It
floating
was more like a
condominium?
floating city.
Does it have
Floating city
this?
is really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like everything was there: bank, front desk, a jail, a hospital, casinos, different ballrooms and buffets on different floors, fore and aft.
So it's, wouldn't that be kind of the ultimate place to be for an entire
Yeah,
lifetime then? Is there, what's the reason why you
some
left
people are
that type
lifers
of
that
job?
work there, but my opportunities just came to an end, and I was happy to turn the page on that. And really, after working 12-hour days, it's a hard run as an employee, whether you're um, like a low level employee, doing dishwasher or housekeeping or linens or laundry, all the way up compared to what I was doing in the officers department. I was a 3 and 4 stripe officer, depending on which of the 6 ships I worked on. But working 10, 12-hour days, not, and is good. You can do it when you're young and feisty, but I kind of ran out of energy and interest too, because number one, primarily, or several items of the number one things, is that I missed wearing my own clothes. I missed going to my own grocery stores. I missed riding my own bicycle, feeling
Hmm.
land, going out for a rip on the motorcycle. And all that stuff is you put aside, and it is a big sacrifice to be on ships. You just arrive there with your runners and your jeans and one suitcase and a hoodie, and then you kind of wear that civilian clothes every once in a while. Yeah, at the end of the day, but the most of the time, if you can imagine me, 6'6" guy, everything: white socks, white underwear, white pants, white shirt, white captain's hat or sailor's hat, being on board running the show with usually I would be working by myself, but some of the bigger ships I'd have an assistant in the IT to help me with embarkation days, which is where we unload 2,000, 3,000 passengers and collect 2 or 3,000 more passengers, depending on what, the size of the ship and what cruise itinerary we were doing. But it's a lot of work. Those are 15, 16-hour days. I don't know if anyone's ever traveled on cruise ship and done on a run down the west coast of Canada to San Diego, or the Mexican Riviera, or somewhere in the Caribbean atoll, or the European cruises. They're all great places. I would definitely go back, but I've settled here now in San Diego with quite a few assets: motorcycle, a truck, and a great apartment, living on ground floor, which is where I like to be. I don't, with bicycles going in and out of my front door to get a ride in at the park, I don't like having to take elevators or stairs. It's such a pain, or it's very discomforting, and kind of hassle when you're. And I
Hmm.
like to boot around town to do my errands and groceries. Get to the bank and just pedal over like 3-4 blocks. And I miss that stuff. Like I said, when I was on ships, so you get paid well, but you get paid well because you're not paying for laundry and commuting, and not even your food or your uniform or clothes. So everything is paid for: your housing, your food and board, and everything. And so, I was able to give up on Vancouver and basically store my last of my couple of bicycles and my tools and stuff at my home in Nelson, and carry with me everything I kind of just needed for ship life. And how that works is you sign a contract and you get on board and you stay on board. You can get off in port each day or what have you every once in a while, but you
Hmm.
basically commit to ship life for about 6-7 months. And then you take a break, you rest, you recharge, you go back home to your home country, where the company is responsible for flying you back to your port of call. And then you,
Yeah. And how
oh,
long would
like
that break
two
be
months,
then?
definitely two
6 months of
months.
work. So 6
Yeah.
months on, 2 months off. So you get a
So,
nice, really
yeah.
nice
So,
holiday there.
yeah,
So
it comes
long
in a
holiday.
holiday format, you could say, but you pay for it because you work until you're really burnt out, about for 3 or 4, 5 months. But you get into the
Hmm.
rhythm, and year after year after year, you kind of get into it. And that's what lasted me. Like I said, 5 years was about enough I could handle. And, it's a lot of heavy lifting as far as data driven my occupation goes. So your kind of brain mush, brain turns to mush because you're just processing data and requests and help desk tickets and fixing everyone's computer, from the casino to the bar manager to the front desk, and then some. And then embarkation days, which, like I said, are 15, 16-hour days, and you're hauling 30 or 40 computers out to the gangway off on the pier
Mm.
to check people in and get their cards set and sorted. But it was a good time. I really liked it, and really
Hmm.
escalated my skills as an international IT guy, and would love to be cruising, but as a passenger on the other side of the desk instead of a an IT support personnel. So I'll
Right. So when you disembarked for 2 months, does that mean that you'd have to rent an apartment for the entire year just so that you'd have
Well,
somewhere to
good
return
question,
to?
Sepple. Some people have that in place where they can afford that, and keep paying their rent. I was fortunate at the time in Vancouver when I left in 2004. I was living with a friend, and had a room I rented. And then I didn't have any belongings there when I left in 2005. I think May 5th, 2005. The date was when I had dropped off my whatever remaining belongings in Vancouver, or in Nelson, and didn't have apartment to rent to come back to. So I had I think a car at my dad's house in Nelson, and a couple of
Hmm.
suitcases of extra clothes, or boxes of clothes, and bicycles, like my mountain bike, my road bike, and my city bike, because I'm a big time cyclist. And I kept what I needed to keep, that of my good belongings. And so I didn't have that burden of coming back to paying rent, between, or trying to find an apartment, or follow up on past bills or due rent, while I was away at sea. So I had that freedom. I had no ties. I know no mortgage, no animals or pets or anything like that. So I traveled BC, I think, a number of times during my breaks. Went down to Portland to see family and aunts and uncles.
Hmm.
Yeah, just did
Wow.
that. Did
Amazing.
that.
So you're able to save,
Oh, thousands,
um, let's
thousands,
say,
Sepple.
okay, so let's say in a year period, so 6 months on, 2 months off, and then 6 months on
Oh,
again. Let's say
over that
over that
12,
12-month
14 months,
period.
I'd
Which
literally.
was it 60,000
No,
US?
probably more
Wait, that was
more
10
like
years ago.
20, close to 20 to 25. So
Okay.